Welcome back, guys. So this is another video in the series for the independent musician. This time we're focusing on the role of streaming services in the musician's life. In particular, we're thinking about the role of Spotify today. Now, the main thing that comes up time and time again, and the main question that comes up when I talk with other artists is, how does Spotify actually pay? This is not an easy question to actually answer. On average, per stream, Spotify are paying roughly about 0.3 cents to 0.5 cents. But it's not a straightforward answer, and these are averages, because actually the way that Spotify pays out its artists depends on quite a few other parameters. For example, Spotify, if you are a premium subscriber, and you stream the music of an artist, you're actually generating more revenue for that artist than if the same track is listened to by a free subscriber, which might sound a bit strange, but that's how their calculation works. The other thing, it also considers where those streamers are coming from. So certain countries are the cost for a premium subscription is more expensive than for other countries. So for example, if you consider UK, the cost for a premium Spotify package is more expensive than other places. So if you were to get your subscribers coming from the UK, for example, then you could be generating more revenue than somebody who is getting a lot of streamers from a country where the Spotify premium package costs less money. So it's not a simple answer. Now, obviously, these numbers are super low. And I think it's for this reason that a lot of artists are regularly asking themselves the question, should I bother to do it? Well, I'm really interested to hear what you guys think about this as well, because it's not a simple question to answer. I think one of the big things to consider is, what is the status of the track? So how many people were involved in the track? Was there a label? Was there not? Are there multiple songwriters? Because all of this will affect the cut that you as an artist or would be getting at the end. For me, for example, I write my tracks. So I own all of the rights for the songwriting. So that is obvious, and I'm not no label, it's just me. So obviously that impacts how that works. All the money will go to me. Obviously at this stage, it's not exactly like I'm rolling. So, but still, it's important to consider. And the more overheads, the more people involved in that, so whether other additional songwriters or labels or any other overheads like that, that's going to really impact the bottom line. And it gets to a situation where you as an artist might be thinking, well, is this still working for me? And like I said, I'm very interested to hear what you've got to say, because for me as an artist, I still think it's worth it. I'm going to take this opportunity to plug. 16th of October is the release of my first EP, Endless Possibilities, and it is coming out on Spotify. So, despite the problems that are obvious, inherent in Spotify for a small-time artist, it's still worth it. Why? For me, is reach. So even if those streaming figures and, those averages might be super low, and as an independent artist, you're never going to be, it's very unlikely you're going to be in the millions, you're still reaching people. It still shows that you're serious about your work. It's a way for people to connect. It's another way for people to see that brand. And I think if you consider the Spotify package, what it's doing for you as an artist is simply a section of that brand, as opposed to a failure because it's not making revenue enough to be able to do anything tangible with it. If you consider it's just a section of the business, then I think it's a much more interesting proposition. So certainly from my angle, in the way I'm constructing this from the business side, it's very much thinking, well, okay, Spotify, there is reach. It's random. I don't have that much control over it, and the analytics can be quite difficult in some senses to pull out useful data. But it still has a role in reach. Obviously, there's that option of playlisting. Okay, definitely not a primary aim on my end. But you've always got that option. Without putting it out there, that reach is impossible. And I think it's also worth noting, certainly me personally, there are very, very few artists that I will actually buy a CD for, just simply because, we're living in certainly a world where accumulation of physical items, isn't really what is wanted. A lot of people living in reduced spaces, it's just not as interesting as it might have been in the past. And for that reason, to have that option, to have that ability to reach people that never would have found it, I think remains interesting. I think myself about the number of people I have found through Spotify, whether that's the algorithm, whether it's somebody telling me about an artist who's similar to what I do, and sort of finding it that way. However it goes, I still think it serves a super useful role. Now, that's my bit. I'm super interested to hear what you've got to say. I'm interested to see what your experiences have been. Do you also feel that Spotify has its role still, or do you think it's really not so interesting anymore? Let me know. Like I said, feel free, and if you're interested, to stream my EP, Endless Possibilities, 16th of October. It's going to be on Spotify. Links all, somewhere there. And I'll catch you next time. All right. Ciao.